My name is Quinn Linus and I am the founder of the Canadian Track and Field League. Tonight we're here to celebrate the 98 athletes that are about to be drafted. It is no easy feat to be drafted into the CTFL anymore, with the standards increasing to a high degree at this point, as well as just in general the sheer number of athletes that apply. In total this year we had close to 400 athletes apply to be CTFL athletes, and there's only about 276 athletes in total in the league for 2025. So a good chunk of athletes that even met standard didn't get drafted tonight. And for those athletes that are not going to be drafted, we do continue to urge you to register next year, keep trying, keep improving your times, and one day hopefully you'll be in the CTFL along with the athletes that are about to be drafted right now. The first 5 rounds of the draft will be based off of the 2024 CTFL mixed relay. So it was a 4x2 relay at the end of the CTFL finals. What happened was the Bears won the relay, so that means that they'll be getting the first overall draft pick, followed by the Huskies, Arctics, and finally the Spitfires, who finished last in that race. I'm going to introduce the ambassadors that will be leading us through the draft tonight. Starting off with our first overall draft pick, the Bears, represented by Aaron Brown, our 4-time Olympian and now Olympic champion in the 4x1. They'll have the first overall draft pick as a result of that win in that 4x2 relay in 2024. They will be followed up by the Huskies, who will be represented by Melissa Bishop. She is a 3-time Olympian as well as a World Silver Medalist. After that, another 800 meter will be representing the Arctics, 2-time Olympian and NACAC champion Brandon McBride. And finally, Lucia Stafford, who is actually coming to us from China, where she's competing at World Indoors at the moment. Following the first 5 rounds, we'll be going in descending order based off of how they finished their 2024 CTFL season. We'd like to thank our sponsors. So our longtime partner, starting off with, we're going to be thanking New Balance, who was one of the first sponsors of the CTFL and has been a tremendous help to our growth. They believed in us when not many other companies did, so we'd like to thank them tremendously because we would not be here without them. In addition to our 4 team sponsors, all 4 teams this year are sponsored. So we're going to start off with our sponsors that have been here for a very long time. Runner's Choice Waterloo, who is sponsoring the Arctics this year and every single year from its inception, as well as the Bears, who are sponsored by Milk of Ontario. Our 2 new sponsors are CIBC Wealth Management. They're going to be sponsoring the Huskies this year, as well as the Spitfires, who are going to be sponsored by Run Parlor. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors because, trust me, we would not be here without your help, nor would we be able to give away about $45,000 to the athletes this year without your assistance. So kudos to you guys. Thank you for continuing to help us grow the sport. And moving forward, we really can't wait to kind of see what happens in the future. Now, throughout this draft process, we're going to have the help of New World Athletics and their writers, Nikili and also David. So they will be kind of announcing throughout the draft what they think is happening, what their analysis of the draft, who's doing really well, who's kind of falling short. So please stay tuned for that and stuff. That does give a little more of an insight into what's happening, and kind of gives you guys an idea before the season even starts, like who is going to maybe be favorites of this season, who maybe should have done a better job in the draft. So stay tuned for the kind of insights, and we look forward to hearing from them. And then lastly, I'd just like to talk about the 2025 CTFL season. So this year we have 5 prelim meets, and then we have one championship. So our championship is July 11th. We have a new meet out in BC. So we're partnering with Coquitlam Cheetahs in order to put on a meet out in British Columbia during early June. So we look forward to kind of seeing you guys out there. We're also going to be doing a few other projects with New Balance, so stay tuned, especially for the high schoolers. We have a big project coming up with you guys, so looking forward to kind of running through that. This year we're also giving away $45,000 about that in prize money. So we're very excited that we've grown from a prize fund of $7,000 in 2022 to a prize fund of almost $45,000 in 2025. So we are growing extremely quickly. We are super excited to see how we progress the next 3 or 4 years down the line. So we'd like to thank you for joining us tonight, and I'd like to turn it over to Aaron Brown in order to get us started with the first overall draft pick. Aaron, back to you.
Okay, time for another edition of the CTFL Draft. This is the 2025 edition. I am the ambassador for the best team in the league, the Bears. Let's go Bears. My name is Aaron Kingsley Brown, Olympic champion in the 4x1, and let's get right into this draft. With the first pick of the CTFL Draft, the Bears select my homie, Sade McCreath, in the women's 100 meters, with a mark of 11:21. Sade is also a member of the 4x1 Olympic team that made the finals in Paris and finished 6th place. So welcome to the Bears and the first pick.
With the first pick in the 2025 CTFL draft, the Bears unsurprisingly took Sade McBride. Now, Sade is a great athlete coming off a huge season, and this is a big pick for the team. Sade last season, in the outdoor season, went to Paris with the Canadian team. She ran the first leg of the 4x100, and she has a personal best ran in 2023 of 11:21. Now, this is more than a tenth of a second ahead of discipline leader Donna Ntambwe, and she looks like she's going to rack up some serious points in the discipline. Out of her 13 times she clocked last season, only one of them, her slowest, an 11:70, would place her out of the top 3. So I think this is an obvious pick for the first pick. If she was going to be first, she was going to be second, and any team, especially the Bears, are going to be happy to have her, because the women's 100, as you'll see later, is a big discipline coming up this season.
I mean, you just said it, right? Like, the women's 100 meter is the discipline of need right now in the CTFL. Every team needs a women's 100 meter runner, and why not make it Sade McBride? And she obviously, was certainly in the conversation of first overall. Should not be a surprise at all that she goes. There was like 2 athletes who really could have been first overall, and she was one of them. This is absolutely not a reach. I think this is a great pick, all things considered.
With the second pick, the Huskies select the 2024 Olympic team member Dwan Asamoah in the men's 100 meters.
As mentioned in our analysis for the first overall pick, there was a 1A, 1B situation, and the other athlete who could have gone first overall, and here he's gone second, is Dwan Asamoah in the men's 100 meter. This is a very exciting pick. Dwan runs a 10:03 is his personal best in the 100 meters, which is unreal. Last season, him and the 2 top CTFL 100 meter athletes, Itzakiri and Ajibi, all ran under 10 seconds at one point. Not win legal, but it's something we can keep an eye on this season. Globally, the club for sub 10 is a small one, and it's a very special event when it does happen, especially when it's win legal. Asamoah is going to be in the conversation for gold. There are 3 guys here who could win it, and he's one of them. You can't pass up on an athlete like this. I think Asamoah is an amazing pick.
No, you can't pass up on him. That's exactly right. I think a 10:03 sitting directly in between the 10:02 top time of Itzakiri and the 10:04 top time of Ajibi last season. This is a huge pick. He could go first, he could go third. It doesn't matter. It's a huge pick. You can't pass up on an athlete like this. A member of the Canadian Olympic team in Paris, Asamoah is going to be huge. That word huge is not an understatement. This is great for the Huskies as well, picking up another top athlete in the discipline. They already have Ajibi, who placed second last season. So having a 1-2, maybe 1-2, 2-3, 1-3, who knows, finish on the podium is going to be huge for the team that's looking to rack up some serious points in such a competitive discipline.
And I mean, that's going to be a strategy that I think we're going to see here all day long. It's going to be stacking discipline. If you can stack 2 guys, 2 girls on the podium, you're doing great for this season.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun pick. I think there's a lot of excitement to be had.
Huskies are doubling up. They're coming for some serious points.
Hey everyone, my name is Brandon McBride and I'm a 2-time Olympian. I am also the ambassador / head cheerleader for the Arctic squad. I'm going to take some time and select the athletes that have been named to the team. And so let's hop into it. I am very excited. I hope everyone else is very excited as well. So in the first round, the Arctic select Shanice Williams. She was 6th place at the 2024 Olympic trials. She competes in the women's 100 with a PB of 11:57. Welcome, Shanice.
Shanice Williams, 3rd overall. I think this is an amazing pick. I know I said that about the other picks too, but you really can't go wrong in this first round. This is the 2nd women's 100-meter runner, and this is kind of what we were talking about with women's 100-meter being a focus. It's a focus for every team. The team that needs it the most is the Huskies, but every team needs it. And so do the Arctics, and I think they've made a great pick here. Shanice can run for that gold. She certainly, her time isn't exactly right up with Sade. She's running an 11:57, which still would win this past season's CTFL championship. And that's just a big step up. This discipline is going to be really fast this year. And with Shanice adding into that, she's going to be a great addition to the Arctics and a great addition to the discipline as a whole new reason to watch the Arctics and the women's 100-meter. Super exciting. 2 in the first round. I'm pretty excited about that. 2nd 100-meter athlete, there's a huge need and a huge want for these athletes. It raises the question, though, with the Huskies picking Dwayne Asamoah. They might have missed out on a big athlete because they've lost star athlete Jordan Savory, who led the discipline in points. She won the CTFL finals last year, and she won't be coming back. So this kind of raises the question for the Huskies of where are you going to be sitting in this discipline, in such a competitive discipline, when you can see that teams are really going after grabbing big points. They might have really missed out. But obviously Dwayne is a huge pick, and it's hard to pass him up. So it's understandable from the team, but it's a great pick to kind of come in for the Arctics and take what the other team passed up on. Yeah, if I'm in the Huskies position, I think I'd probably go with Dwayne as well, but there's certainly a bit of a complication there. You'll see throughout this draft, wires will get crossed. Mm-hmm. It's a very difficult thing to draft these teams. But Arctics, when you got Shanice Williams on your radar and she drops to the 3rd round or 3rd overall pick, you're picking her. I think that was a great pick.
100%.
Hey everyone, my name is Lucia Stafford. I'm a 2-time Canadian Olympian in the women's 1500 and this year's Spitfires ambassador. And I'm so excited today to be announcing our 2025 draft picks. With the 4th draft pick, we select Misha Powell in the women's 400 meters, who is a 2016 Olympian.
Trying to win the league like the CTFL. I'm saying chilly like the Arctics, flying like a Spitfire, hunting like the Huskies.
Finishing off the first round, the Spitfires select Misha Powell, a 400-meter athlete. And Misha was a member of the 2016 Olympic team. She did not compete at the games, but being a member just is a testament to how fast of an athlete she is. With a 52:38 personal best, she's entering a really competitive discipline that's led by quite a margin by Lauren Gale. Lauren Gale, a member of the Arctics, the Spitfires may be taking this pick to kind of situate her in between her and the rest of the discipline. There is quite a gap between Lauren's sub 51 times and the rest of the discipline. So finding somebody that's running in the mid 52s is maybe trying to make up that gap. And another big pick, as we already said, this kind of stacking, this doubling up that teams do. The Spitfires already had the 3rd place athlete last season. So maybe running for a 2-3 combo or a 2-4 is something that they're going to be looking to do and really rack up some big points this next season.
It's just that. That's the strategy. That's the theme we're seeing here. Some stacking. A podium stack is probably the only way you can really compete when you've got Lauren Gale on the start line. She's going to win the discipline. That's my call. I think she's going to. We'll have to see. There's a reason we run the races. That's how we find out. Yeah. But Gale's got certainly the advantage, the better times. But stacking that podium's a really good call, and doing it through the draft is a great way to do it. I think it's a great pick.
It's a great pick, and it's in the first round, and we'll see you after the next one.
Sprinter wins Olympics in middle distance spikes.
200-meter champion at the Olympics in Paris.
This shoe is the Fuel Cell MDX V3. This is a highly anticipated launch. This shoe is a full-length carbon plate, and while it's called the MDX, this shoe is worn by Team New Balance athletes like Gabby Thomas, Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, and even Jean-Simon Desgagnés. The goal at New Balance is to make this the most versatile spike used for both short sprints to long distance, and also one of the most comfortable spikes on the market.
With the 5th pick in the second round, the Bears select William Batley, men's 200 meters. He has a mark of 20.95 and 20.76 when mated, and he was the U20 200 meter champion. Welcome to the Bears.
State your name. Big dope on flame. I just switched the lanes. Damn, he did it again. I just flipped the pain.
With the 6th pick, the Huskies select in the women's 400 meters, Audrey Jackson.
In the second round, the Arctics will select Owen Lockyer in the men's 5K with a PB of 13:59.73. We are very excited to have him on our squad. Welcome, Owen.
With the number 8 pick, we select Liam Smith in the men's 1500 meter. Liam was a member of the World U20 team.
Yeah, 2, 2, 3, 3, I'm on 10 again. Yeah, state your name. Big dope on flame. I just
This past round, we saw some really good picks. Teams not only selected athletes just off of their performances, they picked with some strategy, which is something that we're going to see coming up in the next couple rounds. The pick that I'm the most keen on, though, and I picked that even though he's the first pick of the second round, I think he actually slipped, is William Batley, selected by the Bears. Batley is a rising star in the Canadian track and field world. A U20 national championship, OFSA champion last season, breaking a 40-year record in the event. He's going to come and cause some serious trouble in the 200 meter. He's the only athlete in the discipline now to run a sub-21 aside from champion Dominic Baresi. And I think that he's really going to become a staple in the league, the same way that we have the Roxroy Catos and the Ushiritse Tsakiris. We might have William Batley, especially because he's 2007 born. He's not even done high school, and he's running times like this. So not only just in the CTFL, but the greater Canadian track and field world, I think that this is a rising star and a huge pick for the Bears, who needed it. Their last athlete placed 9th in the discipline last year, and this is somebody who may even win the discipline. So this is a huge pick. I think smart for the Bears, and honestly, I think other teams might have missed out in the last round.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great pick for the league. When you have a young rookie who's this fast, it's hard not to root for him. Batley's a great choice. Yeah. He's so fast. Could you imagine being his age and being this fast? He's going to come into this discipline, and he could win.
Yeah.
He's really talented. This is a really good pick for now, and it's a great pick for later, for a long time. Let's hope. Here's hoping.
Here's hoping.
An amazing pick. And obviously there's the strategic pick as well. Arctics picked Owen Lockyer, a 5,000 meter athlete, at 7th overall. Lockyer is a very talented runner. He's a bit of a reach here, especially if you measure by IAAF points. He's not exactly this high in the draft. However, the need for 5,000 meters was great for the Arctics. The only athlete who has a better time from last season is Thomas Laviolette from the Bears. And that's only 2 seconds better than Owen Lockyer's best of 13:59 in the 5K. Lockyer's relatively young. He's got some years for him, and he's very talented. I think he's going to shake things up and could put a bid there for Arctics to really turn around what last season was for them in the 5,000 meters for the men's, which was a bit of a loss. All the other teams got more points in that discipline. I think this time around, Lockyer could put them at the top.
Yeah, I think this is a great pick, and as David said, this is definitely a strategic one. Lockyer is going to be one of the only, if not the only, depending on the performances of other people in the discipline, sub-14 runners. There's also a huge gap in the discipline when you look from 1st to 4th, 1st to 5th. There's quite a drop-off in time, and so Lockyer is really going to look to solidify himself at that top spot. And I think that he has the talent to do exactly that. So great pick, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be up to in the next year.
Yeah, certainly strategy in the draft makes things interesting, and it kind of feels like the season's starting right now when you get some real game going in the draft. This is fun. I'm loving it so far.
Exactly, and some great picks in this last round, and we'll see you after the next one.
Yes, sir.
With the 9th pick in the 3rd round, the Bears select Leroy Russell III, men's utility 800 meters. He has a mark of 147.31, and he's going to kill it for my team. Welcome to the Bears.
I got the trophies in my name and they're embroidered. Except bang, no tripping, got that New Balance. Been flying on the stage just looking for.
With the 10th pick, the Huskies select 2024 U20 national champion in the men's 400 meter hurdles, James Kerr.
Now in the 3rd round, the Arctics will select Vivian Ogre in the women's 100 meters with a PB of 11:59. She was the OUA 2025 60 meter champion. We are happy to have her on our squad. Welcome.
With the number 12 pick, we select Cairo Obabor for the men's long jump. He was a 2024 Officer Silver Medalist.
Catch me up in my zone. I'll pass you like a baton. Let me show you where we're going. I'm hot like Tucson. Train with
the 11th overall pick in the 3rd round, I think a really interesting athlete to join the Arctics is Vivian Ogre. That's their 2nd women's 100 meter pick here in this draft, and the 3rd women's 100 meter picked in the draft as a whole. So the Arctics are really narrowing in on this discipline, which I think is an interesting strategy. Certainly a strategy where it's like, this is a discipline of need. You've got 3 really top-tier athletes here in Sade McCreath, Shanice Williams, and Vivian Ogre in the women's 100 meter, and now the Arctics have 2 of them, which I think is a really interesting strategy. Ogre's time is 11:59. That's her personal best in the women's 100, which is only 0.02 behind Shanice Williams with 11:57. So they're running about the exact same time. I think the interesting bit here for the Arctics is that can create some inner competition, which obviously in track the outer competition does a lot, but to have that extra boost of like you've got that positive competition going with your teammate, I think this could be a really positive formula for the Arctics and could result, if all things go well, could result in a podium stack. But they gotta move one person off the podium first, so that'll be a challenge.
2nd pick for the same team in 3 rounds. This is a great pick, as David said. This is an athlete who may look to push for a podium stack, but it begs the question again for the Huskies. Where is that 100 meter women's 100 meter presence? You have Jordan Savory leaving the league. She's not coming back to compete next year, and the Huskies still have yet to pick a 100 meter women's athlete. They actually did have the selection before the Arctics, as we saw. They took a really good pick there. James Kerr is an athlete with the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds, and he currently has a personal best of 52.30. Now there's quite a sizable gap in the 400 meter hurdles with star athlete and one of the faces of the CTFL, Roxor Acato, dominating this discipline since the league's inception. He's someone that's not going to be dethroned, and Kerr probably won't be looking for that number 1 spot next season. But what Kerr can do, and what the Huskies likely selected him for, is fit in this gap that is a few seconds between 1st and 2nd. Kerr will look to sit comfortably if he can run around his best or even beat his best. He'll look to sit around the 2nd place, which is picking up some serious points. Around 61 points are eligible if he can take all 3 marks for 2nd place. So a great pick, and definitely a pick that's strategic. It's a pick that it's needed. This discipline is needed to pick up some points for the Huskies, but you got to ask, where is that 100 meter presence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking the same question. And if I'm in the Huskies position, it's tough not to pick Kerr here. I think Kerr is not a wrong pick, but you've missed out on the train of the women's 100 meter here. It's really interesting because they've missed out on a U Sports 100 meter gold medalist who just beat Ntambwe, who is the Spitfires women's 100 meter runner, who was the fastest runner from last year. Her times were the best last year. So Spitfires have a 100 meter runner. The Bears got theirs 1st overall in Sade McCreath, and then the Arctics now have 2, and the Huskies just lost them. So they're in a position of loss here in that discipline. Nothing wrong with focusing on different disciplines in with Kerr in the 400-meter hurdles. Definitely not a bad choice.
Not at all.
But it's really tough to see a discipline kind of slip away from a team here, and that's kind of the tough choices you have to make when you're drafting a team. So I don't know what I'd do in their position, but you can kind of see how the wires start to cross at this point in the draft.
Yeah, they really are. Some great picks. All 4 picks in the round are definitely going to be really beneficial to the team. We're still in quite a high round, so all of these athletes are top tier. But it's starting to really break down when you look at the strategy of these teams and who's going to be gunning for what. And we won't see until the athletes hit the track and the field next season, but we'll have to see how everything pans out.
Yep, on to the next round.
Indeed.
In every step, there's potential. Every mile holds opportunity. For those who seek the rush of the open road, we understand the power of the perfect stride. Because when you find the right fit, there's no limit to where you can go. Discover your stride at Runner's Choice, Waterloo.
With the 13th pick in round 4, the Bears select Tegan Wallace, women's 200 meters. She has a mark of 38.90 on the 300-meter bank track and 25.14 in the 200 meters. Welcome to the team.
Big dope on flame, I just switched the lanes. Damn, he did it again, I just flipped the pain. Strip it and dip it in base, slap on everything.
With the 14th pick in the women's long jump, the Huskies select Haley Manners.
Now, I know I may be butchering some of these names, so forgive me. I am not a professional broadcaster. I was an athlete. In round 4, the Arctics will select Maoli St. Germain in the women's 100-meter hurdles with a PB of 13.53. Welcome. I look forward to seeing you compete.
With the number 16 pick, we select Florence Caron for the women's 5,000 meters.
In round 4, there's only really one athlete that we're going to focus on, and that is Haley Manners, selected with the 2nd pick of the 4th round. Manners is a huge pick. She didn't compete last season. She's only competed in the 2023 season due to injuries, but her personal best that she achieved that season was a 6.28 in the long jump, which is quite a bit farther than the other athletes that you see in the discipline. The farthest mark recorded was by another Huskies athlete, Leah Jones, last season, which was a 5.97. So to be the only athlete jumping above 6 meters and to be jumping that far ahead of your competition, I think that this is a huge pick, and I think that she actually slipped quite a few places in the draft. So great pick for the Huskies to pick her up, but also not great selection by the other GMs who missed out on such a valuable prospect.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting at 14th overall that you're able to get someone who's probably going to win the discipline. I think this is a huge pick by the Huskies. And I feel like we've been giving them a little bit of a hard time for missing out on the women's 100-meter train. But, you miss out on that, but at the same time, now you're getting someone who could be getting 75 points if she stays consistent through the whole season. And she's a very consistent athlete.
Yeah, it is. And there's not really much more to add. She's just going to have to show her skills in the pit and really outjump all the rest of the athletes, because the Huskies drafted her. Although she kind of blanked last season with these injuries, she didn't record any times. She's still a huge pick, and she has really serious potential to shake up the discipline and just sit atop it once the season's all said and done. So that's our highlight of this round.
Yeah, certainly a great way to round off round 4.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
With the 17th pick in round 5, the Bears select Diana Boa, women's 200 meters. She has a mark of 24.74. Welcome to the squad.
I'm living fast with your lanes. Like
like a Rolls Royce. I got the trophies in my name and they're embroidered.
With the 18th pick, the Huskies select in women's shot put Effie Latham.
Now, in round 5, the Arctics will select Tyrell Davis in the men's 100-meter dash with a PB of 10:32 wind aided and 10:51 into a negative wind. We are excited to see him compete for the squad. He was also Can West 60-meter champion, so he knows how to get the job done. Welcome.
With the number 20 pick, we select Gabrielle Cole for the women's 100 meter.
I'm throwing weights out of state, call me Sarah Minton. Breaking records, taking names, that's like Gary season. Let's get it on, don't catch me up in my zone.
At the top of the 5th round, we've got Diana Boa going to the Bears. We think this is a really important pick here because this is only the second women's 200-meter draft pick so far in this year's draft. The first of which also went to the Bears. Boa's not necessarily going to be the top, but she's going to be racing among a lot of really talented athletes. Tori McIntyre won last season with a 24.06, and Boa's coming in with a 24.74. And she's 25, she's a York University alumni. She can certainly improve this time. This was a time she set last season, so she's improving as we go. I wouldn't be surprised if she's able to contend for a top spot. I would say a good expectation for her is a podium finish.
The Bears needed 2 athletes in this discipline. They needed 2 women's 200 athletes, and they got them. And they got them high, drafting Tegan Wallace last round and now Diana Boa this round. This is another great pick for strategy. They didn't wait to fill the spot later in the draft with people who may not pick up big points. This is a selection that's deliberately aiming to get points and get points in the top half of the discipline.
Yeah, I mean, they had a strategy, they had a need, and they filled it very well. This is a great pick.
Yeah, it really is, and we'll be seeing more strategy and stacking like this as the rounds come.
Yeah, on to the 6th.
Milk Up Roll Bears.
As you know, the Bears CTFL team is sponsored by Milk Up Ontario, so I figured it was important to bring a little part of our sponsor with us.
Thank you, Milk Up, for sponsoring the Bears.
Of course, Milk Up Roll Bears.
Milk Up Roll Bears. Roll Bears. I'll see you next time.
A huge thank you goes out to Milk Up Ontario for supporting the CTFL and the Bears specifically.
With the 21st pick in the women's 100-meter hurdles, the Huskies select Finley Miller-Weir.
Yeah, flex, I just wanna win. Yeah, LABB who we running with. Yeah, 2, 2, 3, 3, I'm on 10 again.
With the 22nd pick, we select Michael Hussey for the men's utility 800 meters.
With the 23rd pick in round 6, the Bears select Daniel Earls, men's 200 meters, with a mark of 21:30. Welcome to the squad.
Now in round 6, the Arctics will select Nicholas Belaine. You gotta excuse me if I butchered that. I apologize if I did. He competes in the men's 1500 with a PB of 3:46.89. He was 6th place at the U20 Canadian Championships, and now he will be competing for the Arctics for this season. I'm excited to see him compete.
Our favorite pick of the 6th round actually came as its last selection, and that's Nicolas Blanc, who the Arctics selected, and he's a 1500-meter athlete. This is a good pick. This is a strategic pick. This is a pick by a team who needed an athlete. Aside from reigning champ Matthew Baudet, the next best athlete in this discipline from the Arctics was actually in 9th place. And with a personal best of 3:46.89, Blanc will be a welcome addition to the top half of the discipline.
I mean, he's only 3 seconds behind the top prospect in the 1500 meter in this draft that was picked by the Spitfires, Liam Smith. And that's, it's a considerable amount of time, but it's not the most amount of time. And when you've got a 19-year-old who's this talented, and in the 1500, like, he shaved off 10 seconds in 2023, 2024. He's certainly going to shave some time off now as he's going to improve. This is a great pick for now, like adding depth to an Arctic's 1500 meter group that really needs it. You've got the top guy, Matthew Baudet, as already mentioned, but having some depth there too, some backup points, and this is a guy who could be a dark horse for a podium position. So not a bad pick at all, and a great way to round off this round.
Indeed it is, and as David said, with such a young athlete and someone who's already cut off so much time from their personal best over one season, 3 seconds between him and Liam Smith, it isn't nothing. It is 3 seconds, but you never know. This is an athlete who placed in the top 10 of the 2024 U20 National Championships. The talent is there, the potential is there, and he's really gonna pick up some much needed points for a team that had such a gap between their best and their second best athlete in this discipline. So, great pick to round off this sixth round, and we'll see you in the seventh.
Yes, sir.
With the 25th pick, the Huskies select Greg Seymour in the men's 400 meters.
I want all the noise on the track, running laps, yeah. Like I'm Rod Troy, I'm living fast, switching lanes, yeah. Like a Rolls Royce.
With the 26th pick, we select Tuni Oganye for the men's 100 meters.
They're praying on my absence, moving like a stain, put the flame to bad habits, yeah. Come on, turn me up, swear I'm finna jump.
With the 27th pick in round 7, the Bears select Robert Gertzner, men's long jump with a mark of 7:32. Jumping out the pit, let's go. Welcome to the team.
Trained soldiers on the moon like rovers. We pull up to take over, electric like the roaster.
In round 7, the Arctics will select Samuel Hepworth in the men's 1500 with a PB of 3:46.97. Welcome.
Catch me up in my zone. I'll pass you like a baton. Let me show you where we're going. I'm hot like Tucson. Train with my Tucson like the Arctic. Scantron, I'm
Third pick of the 7th round is Robert Gertzner of the Bears. Robert, he is a long jumper in the men's discipline, and he jumps a 7:32 PB that he set just last season. So I think we can expect some improvements. This is a discipline that is kind of getting ruled by the Arctics, right? You've got Fabrice Zongo, who won the whole discipline last year. He was jumping over 770 in his free mark. But then we've got Kenneth West, who in the CTFL off-season and in the university season has really made some incredible strides after some injury last season. Kayla, you know a whole lot about Kenneth West. Tell me about him.
Yeah, this is not an understatement. Kenneth West is one of the best long jumpers in Canadian history.
That would have tied for 9th place at the Olympics last year.
Incredible.
He just swept the U Sports, winning the triple jump and the long jump. He recorded a 788 in the long jump. Just before that, at the OUA Championship, he recorded a 790. He is an athlete that, when healthy, is one of the best in the country. If not the best in the country. He's been setting records left and right, and he's been healthy last season. He struggled with some injuries, hence him only picking up 5 points for the Arctics last season. He's somebody that you could have glanced at the leaderboard and really thought that he wasn't a big performer, but he's going to be a splash, and that's awesome for the Arctics because they won't have to select anybody. They already have the possible 1 and 2 podium finish in West and Zongo. So Gertzner is a good pick by the Bears. Last season, their athletes only finished 4th, 6th, and 9th. So Gertzner is somebody who his 7:32 personal best would sit around. It was tied for the second farthest jump behind Zongo. And this is an athlete that will finish at the top end. So this is a pick that will be welcomed by the Bears. Good pick, a strategic pick, but I don't think that it will really kind of shatter the dominance of the Arctics that we can expect next season if Zongo and West are healthy.
Yeah, I mean, in a discipline where the Arctics are so well set up here for success, I do think Gerstner's still a good pick, though, because Gerstner's 7:32 would have won the championship. Obviously, it's tough to say because Zongo's personal best was not what he jumped in the championship. But the championship mark was 7:22. Gerstner can jump a 7:32. It's clear he can compete at a very high level. Getting someone this late in the draft who can be in the conversation for a podium finish and can at least challenge that Zongo and Kenneth West top two, I think will be a really important thing for the Bears. And I think this is a smart pick, even if you're going by IAAF points. This looks like a reach. I don't think it is. I think it's a really well done strategic pick by the Bears.
I agree. On to the next.
With the 29th pick, the Huskies select in the men's 200, Gabriel Monpoint.
I just wanna win, yeah. LABB who we running with, yeah. 2, 2, 3, 3, I'm on 10 again. Yeah. State your name.
With the number 30 pick, we select Sienna McDonald, women's utility long jump. Sienna is a heptathlete that would be a massive contender in the long jump.
With the 31st pick in round 8, the Bears select Tiago Gamonde, men's 110-meter hurdles, with a mark of 8:14 in the 60-meter hurdles. Welcome to the squad.
The Arctics will select Keyshawn Igbinosun in the men's 400. I apologize if I butchered that, but he has a PB of 47.83, and he will be competing for us in 2025. Welcome.
Another big pick at the end of the 8th round for the Arctics. It is Keyshawn Igbinosun in the 400 meter. Igbinosun clocked his personal best of 47.83 last season, which would have actually made him the second fastest athlete on the team behind Michael Roth. So this is a big pickup. It's quite late in the draft. We're in the 8th round now, and so you're not seeing that many athletes that would rank high on their team. And this is somebody that will likely sit in the top half, and if performing really well, we could see a possible podium push from Igbinosun. So Roth, if competing and if healthy, he didn't record all 3 marks last season, so he slipped quite a bit on the leaderboard, but he did record the fastest and only sub 47 time in the discipline. So this could be a great complementary pick for the Arctics, who are looking to kind of bolster their status in this discipline.
The Arctics were looking to fill a gap here. They needed 2 athletes in this draft for the men's 400 meters. Here's one, and he's very talented. His time is very competitive, so kind of getting that double, like, we've got a guy who's competitive and we fill the gap in our depth chart that we need to. I think this is a solid pick, especially for the 8th round.
With the 33rd pick, the Huskies select Keon Rude in the men's 100 meters.
With the 34th pick, we select Jalen White, a men's utility 400 meters and an Olympic trials finalist.
With the 35th pick in the 9th round, the Bears select Graham Tamori, men's 5K, with a mark of 14:31. Solid. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 9, the Arctics will select Lisa Cosma in the women's long jump with a PB of 5.94. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
With the 37th pick, the Huskies select Ali Nayrand in the men's utility 800.
With the 38th pick, we select Philip Costa, a men's 800-meter runner.
With the 39th pick in round 10, the Bears select Alejandro Civita, men's 800 meters. He has a mark of 151.96. Solid. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 10, the Arctics will select Alexane Hunt in the women's 800 with a PB of 2:11.50. We are excited to see her compete for us. Welcome.
Records, taking names, that's like Gary season. Let's get it on, don't catch me up in my zone. I'll pass you like a baton, let me show you where we're going. I'm hot like Tucson, train with my Toucan like the Arctic.
In round 10, the first two picks both went to men's 800-meter athletes, which have yet to be picked so far in the draft. Definitely a surprise. This is a late fall. Obviously, we're not even yet halfway through the draft, but I think this is a really interesting point. So we have Philip Costa going to the Spitfires here. And Spitfires had Dawson Mann, who was the champion last year. Didn't set the fastest 800-meter time. The discipline is tight, and it's muddy. It could go anybody's direction, but adding depth to the Spitfires is good. And then second pick of the 10th round there was Alejandro Civita for the Bears. And the Bears have Alonzo Ryan, and he ran the fastest time in the men's 800-meter last year. So we're seeing the Spitfires and the Bears both strengthen themselves in a really tight and muddy discipline.
Yeah, again, two great picks. Both athletes maybe are fitting in their spot in the 10th round. The 800 meter is a competitive discipline, and they have a couple athletes that have run sub 150 times in Mann, in Ryan. They're both going to be competing for that top spot next season if they're healthy and firing on all cylinders. But both Costa and Civita run. Costa runs a low 151. Civita runs a high 151. They're both going to be athletes that will be looking to situate themselves in the top half of the discipline. And they're both additions that will complement the possible discipline winner in Mann for the Spitfires. Costa can be a runner-up there and get some more points. Or Ryan, who for the Bears may take the top spot and see Civita fall behind him and take some points. So big picks for both teams. And another question posed for the Huskies, who've yet to pick an athlete in the discipline. And last season, their fastest athlete winning the most points for them was placed in 7th. So another question for the Huskies who missed out on yet another discipline. But we'll see if they select an athlete in this discipline in the next couple rounds.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few left who can compete and add to this already super exciting men's 800-meter race that was kind of a photo finish last year. I mean, it wasn't exactly a photo finish, but it was right there. It was super exciting. Definitely something to keep your eyes on as the draft gets later, and then as the races come around and the season starts up. Men's 800-meter, keep your eyes open. This will be exciting.
We'll catch you up the next couple rounds.
With the 41st pick, the Huskies select Matthew Van Scheppedale in the men's 1500 meters.
With the 42nd pick, we select Amira Gale in the women's long jump.
With the 43rd pick in round 11, the Bears select Xavier Carras-Fanuth, men's 5 pick. He has a mark of 14.41, and he's going to lead us to victory. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 11, the Arctics will select Davide Buckham. I apologize if I butchered your name. He competes for the men's 200. He has a PB of 21.54. He will be competing for the Arctics. in 2025. Welcome.
With the 45th pick, the Huskies select in the men's 5,000 meters Maximus Thiessen.
With the 46th pick, we select Lily Christiane Phillips in the women's 400-meter hurdles.
With the 47th pick in round 12, the Bears select Sophie Miles, women's 400-meter hurdles. She has a mark of 1:04.05. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 12, the Arctics will select Makel Allaire in the men's 400 meters with a PB of 47.90. Welcome to the Arctics. I look forward to seeing you compete.
High schooler beats pro athletes in these spikes.
This shoe is the Fuel Cell MDX V3. This is a highly anticipated launch. This shoe is a full-length carbon plate, and while it's called the MDX, this shoe is worn by Team New Balance athletes like Gabby Thomas, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, and even Jean-Simon Desgagnés. The goal at New Balance is to make this the most versatile spike used for both short sprints to long distance, and also one of the most comfortable spikes on the market.
With the 49th pick, the Huskies select in the women's 100-meter hurdles, Makisha Bob.
I just wanna win.
With the 50th pick, we select Syed Griffith for the men's 5,000 meters.
With the 51st pick in round 13, the Bears select Comlin Jean-Baptiste Econ, men's utility 100 meters. He has a mark of 10.50. He's gonna rip it up for us. Welcome to the team.
In round 12, the Arctics will be selecting Gilham Hermet in the men's long jump with a PB of 7:28. We welcome you.
Yes, sir.
With the 53rd pick, the Huskies select Kendall Leandra Ziadik in the women's 100-meter hurdles.
With the 54th pick, we select Jessie Thibodeau for the men's long jump.
With the 55th pick in the 14th round, the Bears select Rui Ramsey, the men's 100 meters. He has a time of 10:49. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 14, the Arctics will be selecting Helena Ikpoktokin in the women's 200. She has a PB of 40.48 in the women's 300. Excuse me. We are looking forward to seeing her compete in the women's 200 this summer.
I'll pass you like a baton. Let me show you where we're going. I'm hot like Tucson. Train with my Toucan like the Arctic. Scantron, I'ma show you where my mark is. And you know I'm running back.
With the 57th pick, the Huskies select in the women's 100 meters, Maria Teresa Ulisi.
With the 58th pick, we select Gemini Archer for the men's 200 meters.
In round 15, with the 59th overall pick, the Bears are extremely excited to announce that they'll be drafting Jordan Sufi from the University of Manitoba, running a 10.43. He will be representing the Bears as a men's 100-meter utility athlete. Congratulations, Jordan. We'll see you at the CTFL finals, hopefully. Good luck.
Now in round 15, pick 60, the Arctics will be selecting Hannah Adderley Julian in the women's long jump with a PB of 581. We look forward to seeing her jump with us. Welcome.
With the 61st pick, the Huskies select Rose Basu in the women's 100 meters.
With the 62nd pick, we select Oke Okumo for the men's long jump.
With the 63rd pick in the 16th round, the Bears select Yulia Adeshida, women's long jump. She has a mark of 554. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 16, the Arctics will be selecting Ihor Dresden in the men's 400-meter hurdles with a PB of 54.47. I look forward to seeing him hurdle for us. Welcome.
With the 65th pick, the Huskies select in the women's 400 meters, Sienna Rubio.
I just wanna win. Yeah. LABB who be running with.
With the 66th pick, we select Karis Jacobson for the women's 100 meter.
With the 67th pick in the 17th round, the Bears select Kareem Slim, men's 400-meter hurdles. He has a mark of 55.13. Welcome to the team.
Now in round 17, the Arctics will be selecting Amy LeBlanc in the women's 200 with a PB of 25.54 into a negative 0.4 wind. I look forward to seeing her sprint for us. Welcome.
In the last couple of rounds, there were quite a few athletes from the women's 100 discipline that really caught our eye. Starting off with the Huskies finally starting to bolster that weakened 100-meter discipline, selecting Maria Teresa Ulyssi in the 15th round. She's got a personal best of 11.76, which is pretty good, especially for the 15th round. She's going to look to sit in the middle, mid-table in those standings next year. If she was running that best in the championship last season, she would have taken it by over 0.2 of a second. So this is a solid pick. They also took another athlete just one round later. And then looking at the Spitfires again, looking to bolster that 100-meter roster by taking Karis Jacobson in round 17.
I think Karis Jacobson's a good pick here. Spitfires, of all the teams, had the least pressure to pick in the women's 100 meter, which again was kind of one of the biggest events in this draft. Because they've gotten Tomboy, they have the women's 100 meter who ran the fastest times last year. And even of the runners we've seen throughout this draft, and Tomboy still kind of has the inside track of winning this division. But adding Karis Jacobson is you want to support your top athlete. Jacobson's probably not going to be a podium finish here, but if she can find a way to fit herself midway into the pack, this is going to be a really solid pick for the Spitfires, especially so late. And as we can see, the women's 100-meter runners are really getting wrapped up here. And kudos to the Huskies for finally tapping into this discipline.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive discipline, not just at the top end with athletes really competing for those top times, but even the lower points, which in the middle of the table, which a lot of people kind of take for granted and they don't pay as much attention. But those are some really vital points for teams to take. And you can see that in this discipline especially, all four teams have made some really deliberate efforts to rack up points in that mid-table. Now, Karis Jacobson has not broken the 12-meter mark with win legality, but she ran an 11.97 that was not win legal just last season. So we'll see if she can finally break that mark. She'd be the second Spitfires athlete on their roster to do so. Intambwe obviously is quite a bit below that mark, but their next best athlete has not broken that mark. So if Karis can do that, she can really earn some well-earned points and some valuable points for the team.
Yeah, solid pick.
Yes, sir.
With the 69th pick, the Huskies select Charlie Shaw in the men's 800 meters.
With the 70th pick, we select Sheridan McCready for the women's 400 meter hurdle.
In the 18th round, the Bears select Madison Kane Raisin, women's long jump with a mark of 5:47. Welcome to the winning team.
Now in round 18, the Arctics will be selecting Miss Sydney White in the women's 200 with a PB of 25.62. I look forward to seeing her sprint for the Arctics. Welcome.
Breaking records, taking names, that's like Gary season. Let's get it on, don't catch me up in my zone.
With the 73rd pick, the Huskies select Zach Courtney in men's long jump.
With the 74th pick, we select Sarah Fermi for the women's long jump.
With the 75th pick, in the 19th round, the Bears select Horia Traore, women's shot put, with a mark of 10:40. Welcome to the team. That's the squad. Let's go Bears.
Now in round 19, the Arctics will be selecting Mr. Nathaniel Tafis in the men's 400 meter hurdles. He has a PB of 55.90. I look forward to seeing him smash that PB and continue thriving with the Arctics. Welcome.
With Horia Traore picked at near the tail end of the 19th round of the CTFL draft by the Bears, you might notice an interesting quirk of the CTFL draft, and that's that this is the Bears' last pick of the entire draft, and that's because they have the most returning athletes in the league, which means they have the least spaces available for new prospects. And what does this mean for the Spitfires?
On the other end of the spectrum, you'll see that the Spitfires, after the 25th round, are the only team selecting athletes. That's because they have the least returning athletes, and they therefore have the most room and need to select quite a few more athletes than the other teams. So at the end of the draft, after our final analysis, after the 25th round, you'll see that it's just the Spitfires selecting. We'll see you after that round.
With the 77th pick, the Huskies select in the men's long jump Emmerich Bayard Fournier.
With the 78th pick, we select Juliana Crocker for the women's long jump.
Now in round 20, the Arctics will be selecting Miss Kelly Mantell in the women's 400 meter hurdles. She has a PB of 106.87. I look forward to seeing her hurdle for the Arctics.
With the 80th pick, the Huskies select Gavin Small in men's utility 100 meters.
With the 81st pick, we select Liam Davis for the men's shot put. He was a U20 men's national silver medalist in the shot put.
Now in round 21, the Arctics will be selecting Miss Dora Parent Delgadillo in the women's shot put. She has thrown a distance of 9.80 meters. I look forward to seeing her shot put for the Arctics. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
With the 83rd pick, the Huskies select Caitlin Harrison in the women's utility 800 meters.
With the 84th pick, we select Nathan Dagan for the men's 1500.
The Arctics will be selecting Miss LaRose O'Coin in the women's shot put. She has thrown a distance of 8.30 meters. I look forward to seeing her shot put for the Arctics. Welcome.
Let's get it on. Don't catch me up in my zone. I'll pass you like a baton. Let me show you where we're going.
With the 86th pick, the Huskies select in men's utility long jump Graham Hutchison Campbell.
With the 87th pick, we select Safwan El Mansari, men's 800 meter runner and 2024 Office Silver Medalist.
In round 23, with the 88th overall pick, which will also be the Arctic's final pick, the team is excited to select Brody Clark as a men's 5,000 meter utility athlete. Congratulations, Brody.
With the 89th pick, the Huskies select Noah Costa in the men's utility 800 meters.
With the 90th pick, we select CTFL founder Quinn Linus in the men's 400 meter hurdles.
With the 91st pick, the Huskies select Michael Wood in the men's utility 1500 meters.
With the 92nd pick, we select Jaden Elkin in the men's 200.
A pick that caught my eye this late in the draft was the final selection by the Spitfires in the 25th round. That is 200-meter athlete Jaden Elkin. With a personal best set last season of 21:59, that's quite impressive. Now, just a few rounds ago in the 15th, the Spitfires selected their first athlete of the discipline in Gemini Archer, and he runs a 21:3. But both athletes, if competing last season, would have been the Spitfires' number 1 and 2 athletes in the discipline. That shows the need and for athletes in this discipline, and to select 2 athletes that not only are faster than what you have currently, but also would likely be placing in the top half of the discipline and earning valuable points for your team is something that is quite surprising to see this late in the draft. So Jaden Elkin is definitely my pick of the last few rounds.
Definitely Elkin dropping to this late in the draft is a blessing for the Spitfires. And as mentioned before, we're kind of back at the draft quirk now. Now it's all Spitfires. They get to choose for the rest of the draft, and Elkin was theirs to take here. Their next few picks are the final picks of the draft, so we'll see you at the end. We'll see who they take. It's been real exciting.
Yes, sir.
With the 93rd pick, we select Promise Akachukwu in the men's utility 100 meters. With the 94th pick, we select Catherine Moreland in the women's 400. With the 95th pick, we select Wyatt Lee in the men's utility 100.
Come on, turn me up, swear I'm finna jump. I don't come to practice reps, I come to get me the dub. No matter I'm in the 6 or
With the 96th pick, we select Calvin Raymer in the men's utility 1500. With the 97th pick, we select Ishan Varani in the men's 110 hurdles. With the 98th pick, we select Philip Richard in the men's utility 200.
I'm up north in the leagues for the time being. I'm throwing weights out of state, call me Sarah Minton. Breaking records, taking names, that's like Gary season. Let's get it on, don't catch me up in my zone.
And with that final pick, that concludes the 2025 CTFL draft. David, what did you think of this year's draft?
I think it was a lot of fun, first of all. But obviously there's the CTFL draft comes with a big challenge. To win in this league, you've got to be able to balance, like, everything needs to be a balance. When you look at the Arctics who won last year, they don't have the best total men's course points or the best total men's or women's core points, but they have a good average of both. They're kind of like, above average with both of their points. And that balance is what brought them victory. Sure, they got a good chunk of utility points, but most of them they're getting from their core athletes. And they won the team race, but they won totally by a large amount. The other teams didn't exactly have that balance. Now, what we see in the draft is, the teams like the Huskies, they did a great job of finding a balance across the board. Sure, they kind of missed out on women's 100-meter athletes until later in the draft, but they use those picks to pick athletes from different disciplines. And so we don't exactly know how that's going to turn out. We can take our guesses, but we don't know until these athletes have raced or done their event on the field.
Yeah, I mean, excited is definitely a word that I'd use to sum up this draft. Last year we saw, first pick Marco Arob come in, even as a utility athlete. That's a huge name to enter the league. And there's been some really smart selecting by all four teams. Certain teams, as we've highlighted, have missed out on opportunities, but they've also capitalized on other ones. Something that I think is really exciting is how close some of these disciplines are going to be coming into this season. You have disciplines like the women's 100 meter, the men's 100 meter, the men's 1500, which just last season we saw photo finish in, and it's gotten even tighter this year. So these are our disciplines, and more than these ones that I've just mentioned, that are getting some real talent, not only at the top end, but in the middle of the discipline, that we're going to see some really tight finishes, not only in races themselves, but in terms of winning points. And even those later selections in the draft, as we highlighted, Jaden Elkin, those are people that can really help you win. They can help you strike that balance, because it's not just who has the most disciplined champions. It's whose athletes are really competing and really putting out results throughout, not only their top players. So I think that this is something we're going to have to see the athletes hit the track and perform in the field, but this is going to be something that's really exciting and creating a really tight race next season.
Yeah, another thing I noticed that I thought was really exciting is the attention paid by all the teams to the field events, to make these events. I mean, we've already seen Olympians in these events, Olympians and Paralympians. Like, these field events are already very competitive, but to add more to that brings a lot of excitement to the league. And I think there's a lot to look out for this season.
There really is, and we'll make our predictions soon. You'll see them on New World Athletics. We'll be talking about the draft itself. We'll be summing it up, talking about some of our favorite picks personally. And in the meantime, let us know who you think won the draft, what team you think is gonna take the advantage this season. We'll see you soon. I've been Kayleigh Martin.
I'm David Cummings.
Thank you for tuning in.
See ya.
Thank you, New World Athletics team, for that amazing analysis. If you don't already follow New World Athletics, please do so on Instagram and follow them on their website, so newworldathletics.ca. Really like to see that kind of grow. Obviously, we all would, given that you are watching this video and you made it to the end of the final draft pick. So I'd like to thank you guys all for watching the CTFL draft. It is a massive undertaking to put on this event. We'd like to thank the ambassadors who volunteer their time and effort to help us put on such a cool video, and just in general, a really cool night for everyone who is a part of it. The athletes I know really enjoy being drafted by these Olympic icons, these Canadian icons that have done so well in the sport. So that's awesome. I'd also like to congratulate Sade McCreath, who is the first overall draft pick this year and is the first time that the Bears selected first overall. So that is a historic moment for them. Congratulations to all of the athletes that were drafted tonight. It is a major accomplishment to make it into the CTFL at this point. It is a league that is growing so tremendously quickly, and the standards just keep getting harder and harder every single year. The standards keep on getting harder and harder every single year. So to make it to this level already is a major accomplishment. I look forward to meeting everybody throughout the season. And to the fans, thank you guys for watching, encouraging these athletes, and just showing your support for this league. It goes a very long way. So I'd like to thank everybody for just joining in. Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts, from Kosuke, myself, and the rest of the team. Thank you very much. Yeah, and to kind of like conclude, we do have some pretty cool things going on this year, so please stay tuned. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, as that really does show that we're able to grow, and we can utilize that to then leverage other sponsors or just grow in general. So yeah, I'd like to thank you guys. I know I keep on saying it, but it does mean a lot. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys later.